from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week.
Back to work, documenting success and keeping the mojo going. Welcome to Ticats This Week, starring the one and only Simoni Lawrence, Matt Bucknor in the house as well. My name's Rick Zamperin. Hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. You can follow all season long. This is Ticats This Week, and even though it was the bye week, a lot to talk about in the in Steel Town with Sin Spotlight coming up. We got Bucks Big Boy Battle coming up as well. We're going to talk about the bye week and what kind of impact it has on a team like the Ticats that were rolling into the bye week and did so in style. We got our picks coming up as well. But the big game is this coming Sunday, July 5th, 7 p.m. kickoff at Hamilton Stadium. It's the Tiger Cats and the Blue Bombers. We know what Hamilton did in the Peg. Can they repeat it at Hamilton Stadium this Sunday? Tiger Cats pregame begins at 6. Kickoff is at 7. And hopefully 2 points in the bag at the end of the night. Sim, Matt, how are you guys?
I'm feeling great. It's my birthday today. It's my birthday today, so so I went and got me a little birthday workout earlier. And I had to train my clients. So, I'm feeling good right now. I'm just waiting for some dessert for tonight. I'm probably gonna get some cheesecake today.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Happy birthday. Now, don't eat too much cake because that championship belt might not fit as comfortably as it has in the last several weeks. You know what I mean?
Let me get this thing back on.
A knockoff replicate.
There it is. Here we go. Now, does that fit around your waist, or do you just carry it like that all the time?
You know what? I haven't tried to put it around the waist yet. I don't think it does.
Waist.
Mean and lean.
All right. I tell you, let's get to what happened in the CFL last week. It was an entertaining week, I'll say that, because a lot of points were scored in week number 4. The Ticats did not participate in week 4 as they were on the bye week, and we made our picks, and we'll rehash that, but let's get to it. Edmonton in Winnipeg. And it was the Chris Rankin show again. This guy's off to a phenomenal year, as are the Elks. 3-0 after they beat the Blue Bombers 23-18. Toronto victorious over Saskatchewan 40-34 in Regina. Calgary upended BC 41-33. And Montreal beat Ottawa 37-35. Another high-scoring game. So week number 5. Well, before we get to week 5, let's get to the standings in the Canadian Football League, and we'll start with the West Division. Out west, we have Edmonton at 3-0, Saskatchewan, the defending champs, at 2-1, Winnipeg and Calgary 1-2, BC 0-3. And in the East, thanks to their win over the Red Blacks, Montreal's 3-1, Hamilton, Toronto, both 2-1, Ottawa 0-3 to start the season. All right, 2 hour picks, and both Matt and Sim went off in week 4, winning 3 out of the 4 games. I only got 1 correct, so I have to redeem myself coming up in week number 5. Let's start with the defending champion, Matt Bucknor. The pressure is on. 4 games in week number 5. We have Toronto at Calgary, Saskatchewan at Ottawa, Edmonton at BC, and Winnipeg at Hamilton. Let's start with the Thursday night game. It's a 9 p.m. start time in Calgary, 9 p.m. Eastern time. 1-2 Stamps hosting the 2-1 Toronto Argonauts. Matt, who do you got?
Oh, this is a really good matchup. And both teams, of course, coming off of a pretty solid victory, with Toronto taking that win on the road against Sask, Calgary taking care of business in Kelowna over BC. And I wanted to lean towards Toronto in this one. I really did. But I'm flipping it. I'm going with Calgary. I think Calgary's going to take care of business. I think they're going to defend home turf. If this is going to be a close matchup, because both offenses have been clicking as of late. But I'm going to go with Calgary at home, and Toronto having a tough time with that altitude.
Okay, I like that. Let's get to game number 2, Friday night in Saskatchewan, or Friday night in Ottawa, pardon me. The Red Blacks hosting the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Oh, Lord. There is no way I can go and take the Ottawa Red Blacks in any game in any time soon. It's rough over there for Ottawa, and Sask, even though they took that loss against Toronto, they did show that they can move the ball fairly well. And I think I'm going to go with they had a couple turnovers that I know that Trevor Harris and the receivers there that will want to kind of get a couple of those back. I think they're going to clean that up going into this game. On the road, I'm taking Sask over Ottawa.
All right, I had already written down Rough Riders when you began your speech, so thanks for confirming that. Third game of the week, Saturday night in BC, the Lions hosting the undefeated Edmonton Elks. Who do you got?
Oh, so this is another team. The BC Lions is another team that I cannot get behind right now, especially with the way that the Edmonton Elks are playing. They're rolling right now with Rankin, and then you see what Fajardo's doing, and that defense has also been pretty solid in Edmonton too, forcing a ton of turnovers. They came close to putting some points on the board, but I'm going to go with this Edmonton offense and as well as that Edmonton defense to give that BC Lions a ton of trouble this weekend.
All right, Matt likes Edmonton to go 4-0 on the season and BC to remain winless. Our final game of the week is in the Hammer, and it is the main of the Hammer game at Hamilton Stadium. The Tiger Cats wearing their alternate jerseys. 2-1 Tiger Cats hosting the 1-2 Winnipeg Blue Bombers Sunday night at 7 o'clock on the Ticats Audio Network. Matt, I'm feeling that you're going to pick the Ticats here.
You better believe I'm taking the Ticats this week, and they're coming off that bye. And so, Rick, what's the record for the Hamilton Tiger Cats coming out of a bye?
Let me get to it. I have the note. It's somewhere here. Hold on. It's a year back.
Right? But it's a good one. They had a great record coming out of that bye.
And that's the sole reason why you're taking them?
I'm going, and of course, it's just also Winnipeg. They're having a tough time. They're going to have a tough time against this run. I think Hamilton is going to go. They're going to go with that run game with Roundtree this week too, and give Winnipeg some fits. So I'm taking Hamilton.
Okay, I found the stat, by the way. Since 2021,
okay, yes.
The Ticats are 11-3 coming out of the bye week. So good pick.
Make it 12-3.
Make it 12-3. All right, so Matt's on Calgary, Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Hamilton. Simoni Lawrence, you got 3 out of 4 last week. Let's start with game number 1, and it's a biggie for the East Division. Is it going to be the Argonauts, or is it going to be the Stampeders? Calgary hosting the Thursday night showdown.
First of all, I like to say how mad I am at Winnipeg for throwing that game because y'all know I'm a psychotic type of competitor, and I was so mad because I was like, nobody ever go 4-0 with the Ticats on bye week. I was waiting to get that bar off, and Winnipeg blew it, so I'm really upset about that. But this week, it's a new week to be great. We're talking Toronto and Calgary. This is a tough one. I told myself this game is so close, whatever Matt says, I'm going to say the opposite. It's a close game. I told myself whatever Matt say, I'm just going to opposite.
Okay.
Because I'm a winner. I don't like, I just like winning. Toronto.
There we go.
I'm going Toronto first. I like the way that I told y'all they was going to go on the road and do that to Saskatchewan. He's a competitor. Any guy that's a little off like that, he got to be really, really, really good at his job. You know what I'm saying? So you know what he's going to do. So he's a road warrior right now. So I'm taking Toronto and Calgary for sure.
Okay, you got the Argos over the Stampeders. Let's get to game number 2 in Ottawa. The Red Blacks hosting the Rough Riders.
Ooh, this is another one that I was like, man, nah, Saskatchewan, bro. I won't even insult nobody's intelligence when it comes to this football game right here. Saskatchewan is coming off a game where they need to get better at certain things, and they need to address it this game because all week they're getting the kind of attention that they're not used to. When I say the kind of attention they're not used to means they're getting yelled at by coaches. Coaches is talking to them a little different. Hey, fix up, man, because you don't look as dominant as you're supposed to look. Like letting Toronto come in your home and beat you, you better put some pressure on the players. And sorry, Ottawa, you about to be the butt of that joke.
Absolutely. 3-0 Edmonton at 0-3 BC. Who do you got?
Oh, my gosh. I'm like, finally, BC get their first win of the year. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't do good. They don't do good with Hamilton offense that's going to give you all the different route concepts and levels and stuff like that, or even anybody that does that. Now they're in some football Benavides remembers. RPO game, baby. Come on, come play some football. You got 2 Mike linebackers playing linebacker, and the guy from Montreal, Sankey, and the rookie kid. They're both Mike linebackers. So this running game, they about to have so much fun. They like, yes, something I can finally do because they can't drop in coverage. So this is going to be BC's favorite game, y'all. How do you not see this? This is BC's first win this whole year, Remember I said that, y'all. These linebackers is so happy this week. They like, oh my gosh, I get to run downhill and tackle? Woo! These boys almost blew out their knee trying to tackle in open space against us, Are you serious? Oh my gosh, stop playing. BC by 21.
Look out. I love it. All right, we'll end the week in Hamilton. It's the 1-2 Blue Bombers at 2-1 Tiger Cats. Sam, who do you like?
Oh, man, baby. Hey, Winnipeg, I'm so mad at y'all, bro, that I hope the Ticats do y'all even worse than we did y'all the first time. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a football team that's been the standard in the CFL for over the past 5 years with us in Winnipeg. And the way I'm seeing Winnipeg go out right now, it's, oh, my goodness, one of my friends back in the day, I think he goes by the name of Jay-Z, he says the thing will be televised, right? And what's going on with Winnipeg is being televised in front of everybody's eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all was the football team that you knew you was going to get effort from. And when y'all not showing effort in certain things that y'all normally do, it's like, dang, that hurt my heart. No matter, Winnipeg loses football games, you're never going to say Winnipeg lost because they was jumping off sides. Winnipeg lost because they fumbled the ball in their red zone. Winnipeg lost because they can't protect the quarterback. Winnipeg lost because of busted coverage. Just stuff that's not Winnipeg-like, you know what I'm saying? So it's way deeper than you would think, because when the effort's not there, you look and see why the effort's not there, and it's just because it looks like nobody knows what's going on. Even your star players are, ducking some smoke in the middle of the field. And that's not a way that Winnipeg can win games. So they on a burner. I'm taking the Ticats still. Taking the Ticats.
I like it. Is it scary to say that my picks are exactly the same as Simoni's? I don't know if I should be afraid or if I should be, because I like the Argo. This is I think the game of the week. Toronto at Calgary. I think they're two evenly matched teams. Argos, I think, have the better offense, maybe even the better defense, but Calgary's at home. They always play well at home. But I literally flipped a coin and it landed Argos, so I'm going with Toronto. I hate picking the Argos, but I don't know who to pick. I'll flip a coin. Saskatchewan at Ottawa. I mean, Ottawa's a mess. I know they played valiantly last week against Montreal, but man, Montreal made a lot of mistakes, and if they don't make those mistakes, that game's not even close. I don't think this game's going to be close. Ottawa's in a world of hurt. I also like BC to crack that goose egg and get win number 1. Edmonton's kind of, I'm not going to say any of their games have been, or wins have been lucky, because they've certainly earned it, but things have gone their way for 3 games in a row, and I think maybe that stops in BC, and I think the Lions, they're just too talented to go 0-4. That's crazy. And in Hamilton, in the Maid of the Hammer game, I like the Ticats, and I don't think this one's close either. I think the recipe for success that the Hamilton Tiger Cats have employed through 3 games this season has been wonderful. I think they could easily be 0, or they could easily be 3-0. If not for that fumble in overtime, they probably beat Montreal in week number 1. Winnipeg just seems to be damaged goods. They still have a lot of talent, but on the road in Hamilton, Ticats fresh off the bye. Winnipeg, I don't know, they made too many mistakes last week. I don't think they're going to be able to correct it. I like the Ticats big on Sunday. So there we go. We have some similarities and some differences. The only difference being Matt being different to both Sim and I. Good luck with your picks. All right, let's get to...
Wait, do you also have the Lions over Edmonton?
I do have BC, yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
It's bound to happen, I think, this week. Everything's gone right for Edmonton. Everything's almost kind of gone wrong for BC. I just think that kind of flips on its head this coming Saturday.
Absolutely.
Season 2, Episode 1, Made in the Hammer. The docuseries dropped earlier on Tuesday morning. Sim, we'll start with you on this one. This is a behind-the-scenes 4-part series. Porter Airlines on board with a sponsorship. They're obviously heavily involved with the Ticats traveling from coast to coast, and a wonderful partnership. What did you think of Season 2, Episode 1?
Nah, I thought y'all was going to go first because I got so many different thoughts because
I can go first.
Yeah, y'all go first because I want to hear what y'all think. Because actually, I'll go first. Come on, Sam.
Okay.
Let me button up my jacket. You feel what I'm saying?
Take the floor, Sam.
Yeah.
I am a Hamilton Tiger Cat fanatic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that means I watch all of season 1. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to all the television shows, whether it's Keep It a Buck or it's Cat Weekly or What Happened or, everything that's going on in the game. So I'm trying to be on that same synergy and wavelength. And when I'm looking at this series, I'm just like, this is good. I think, Matt, you did a great job at the voiceover. Beautiful, well articulated. You told the story, right? And when somebody tells me a story, now I want to hear the story. And this is just me talking from a fan perspective. Y'all know I love this kind of stuff. So I'm coming in, I'm like, okay. So what happened last year? Matt did a good job of letting us know we didn't finish the job, things happen, but the team is always working. What is the team working on? That's the first thing I need answered. You know what I'm saying? Coming from season 1 and season 2, what are we working on? What happened? What's going on? So the first time they tell everybody, Bo gets on there, Katz gets on there, he's giving this little dialogue of how he thinks the team happened and what happened, but I don't want to hear it from them boys, yo. I want to hear it from from everybody else. Like when you took us in that war room, Matt, and we were looking at the guys and how we're going to get better and the things we need to get better on. You listen to our shows, we're like, all right, we need a linebacker. We just lost Verisuk. What happened to Verisuk? I want to know where Verisuk is. You know what I'm saying? What happened? What's going on with that? Who replaced him? Witten McManus. Oh my gosh, Witten McManus replaced him. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to jump right into it. Tell us about Witten McManus, how and then he gets hurt. That's already controversial. Boom, you know what I'm saying? Keep me awake. I want to stay locked in. So I want you to talk about Witten McManus, and then Witten McManus can say something like, well, last time I was hurt, I came back in the season, we won the Grey Cup. So hopefully that repeats. Something slick like that, because that's a big transaction. And, my coach always used to be like, Simoni, don't say what you're thinking. And I get that. But in movies, you got to say what you're thinking because everybody else is thinking it. You know what I'm saying? You can't just leave me on a cliffhanger. Man, where's this guy you been talking about? Hey, Matt, that draft party was fun as heck, man. I'm talking about our number 1 pick. Where is he? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? What happened with, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to watch football. I love this stuff, but I need to know what's going on. I want to be on the same synergy. And the game is so amazing that you can change it and create it whenever it happens. How you can introduce new stars. Look at our shows. Who we say that was going to have a great year all year? Keandre. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you make a box, I call it a big box. So in this box, we call it square business, right? We got to take care of Porter because we love Porter. And they helping us fund this thing to make great work, So we got to make sure they get their bang for their buck. Ticats. Got to make sure the Ticats eat off of it. You feel what I'm saying? That's just part of the game. Our fans need to participate, need them to watch. You know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, the players, right? So we get right back to the players and how can you maximize your players' opportunity and brand to keep pushing forward so you can create more stars in the league. So now I'm looking at the storylines. I'm like, oh my gosh. That storyline just touched my heart. I'm sitting there listening to Bo talk about his dad passing away. This is Bo's first season without his dad. I get the tingles just even thinking about that because my first football game, I was with my dad crying in South Philly saying I was too scared to play. My dad said, get your butt out there. My last game that me and my dad was at the Grey Cup in Calgary, I'm in his arms crying, sad season, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's my dad, you know what I'm saying? So I want to see how that progresses and how he handles that adversity and dealing with that because, as a football player, that's something tragic in somebody's normal's life. But Bo being the high competitor, high person that he is, he has to push through that and use that as fuel. So nobody's going to have more raw emotion than Bo in any kind of talking point throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? And there was pieces that I wanted to see just because I'm a fan of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, but I think that with the staff and everybody that we had, they did a tremendous job. What I also liked about it was the field stuff. I love the football stuff. Like if you could mic up a player that you think is going to, if y'all need help, I'll tell you exactly who to mic up during the game, and y'all going to get amazing content off of and just let them rock and stuff so you can introduce. That's the funnest part of football. That's what the kids will go crazy over. I want to see what's going on in these games, you know what I mean? It even sounds fun when their pads tap a little bit, you know what I mean? And then our offensive line, we were worried about them. You could hear how we talked about it in all of our shows. You cut to our cut. We talk offensive line slipping, and then you cut like, oh, these boys wrong. Look at the Winnipeg game, and then you introduce Roundtree. Who is Roundtree replacing Greg Bell? Because where's Greg Bell? And then Tim White. Where's Tim White? And then you put Wheatfall clips over Moxie, and then Moxie used to be here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see the football stuff, right? But overall, like, I think it was a great first episode. It was only 21 minutes, and I feel like you need a whole freaking Warner Brothers to do what I'm thinking. But you know,
I mean, you hit a lot of the points that I wanted to make on the head, Sim.
That's just my random brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you want my honest opinion.
This was an awesome episode, but it was like, and kudos to the Ticats and Porter, because this is a lot of work, especially behind the scenes with editing and telling these stories, writing the imagery. It's awesome, but it's like going to a fancy restaurant and you order this amazing dish and they just give you little pieces of this and that to kind of whet your palate, and you want more. And maybe that's the end goal, to say, oh, I want to learn more about this, but I'd love to see it in these documentaries. And man, if it was an hour and 21 minutes, I would love it even more, because I want to consume more of that stuff that you talk about. The behind the scenes stuff is awesome, especially at training camp, where, especially from a fan perspective, Sam, you're talking about, seeing this as a fan. You guys lived it, but we as fans don't know what goes on at training camp behind the scenes. We know there's team meetings. We know there's hijinks, right? Stav was alluding to pranks, filling, the garbage barrels with water and tipping them on the door and the whole bit. That kind of stuff's awesome. Like, I'd love to see some of that, and the cameras can't be everywhere all the time, but I would love for that to be more of that to be included in the storytelling. And you nailed or hit the nail on the head, Sim, too, with, Bo's dad. Like, what a huge part of his life in growing up, learning the game, being, as he called him, like a crazy fan, wanting to know how the Ticats were going. I just want to eat more of that up. So awesome job. Tremendous first episode, but I need more. As a fan, I want more. Matt, what do you think?
I feel you too on that. 1 second, Matt. Especially on training camp, because there's so many different ways you can. Yeah. Kenny just got paid $1 million, right? So what is it like for him walking through the crowds and the big, you know what I mean? Let people get the feel, and you're still marketing success, you know what I mean? Anytime you marketing something, you want to get success in the success within the success. How many times can we get a kill for the Hamilton Tiger Cats with one piece of product? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not wrong.
Well said. Go ahead, Buck. What do you think?
Yeah, I loved it.
Or should we call you Mr. Narrator?
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed doing the narration. That was a new experience, but one that I would definitely do it again. Ticats, the audio network team. If you guys need another guy to do it, I'll do it again. But no, I loved what they did with just you talked about Sim. Both you and Rick, you guys talked about just humanizing Bo and like going into training camp, losing his dad, and then again, that's something personally. I think I connect with, but also so many other fans can connect with as well. I know going into my third year playing, I lost my father too, and going into training camp without him, like that was the guy that I called before games, the guy I called after games, and there's somebody that I leaned on. And yeah, you do have to, as Sim you alluded to, you have to push through, and and then just hearing Bo, talk about that and touch on that, that allows the fans and allows us to connect with him. And so the next time you see Bo, you're going to be looking at him in a completely different light, because you know that he's dealing with some type of adversity. But we also know that there's so many other players that are on this roster that are dealing with adversity too. And so I'm with you, Sam. It's like there's just not enough time. So you want to get every single player. Like I want to hear about some of those rookies too, that they're coming into training camp and their new experience, getting off the plane. They're coming from the U.S. and what's that like, getting adjusted and acclimated to a new system, a new scheme, a new way of playing football, because a lot of those Americans have been playing an American style game. So what's it like for some of these new guys coming into this training camp and adjusting to the game. But again, this is not to.
Matt,
Oh, go ahead.
so like that's what I'm saying. Like when you only got a certain amount of time to do
Time.
something, what you got to do is you got to get a play within a play within a play. Say I play will linebacker, right? I got to stop the run. I got to make sure number 2 off the ball. I got to make sure I get my drop for the DBs. I got to make sure I fill the gap and get the double team. That's like 8 different jobs. So how can I put myself in the best position to get all the jobs done? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like that's why I'm like this Bo Levi piece. Oh my gosh, I'm just passing the ball. You want to hear about the new guys? Let Bo articulate who he handing the ball off to, that just went 23, had 23 rushes for over 100 yards and helped them get that first Winnipeg win. And then pass the ball back. Hey, y'all lost Tim White. He got ... Let Bo tell y'all about that. Yeah, I mean, those 3 catches in Winnipeg as former team, and you could just keep introducing everything within one umbrella. You see what I'm saying? Just passing the ball back to the star player and let him,
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And when you talked about the passing and passing it to the next receiver, one of the receivers, of course, that they touched on and they highlighted so well was Kenny Lawler. And I loved what they did with him and like highlighting his impact that he has. Of course, we know the impact that he has in the locker room here in Hamilton. But then he left Winnipeg and it still has that impact. And then just showing that and showing the fans wanting to connect with him, and they went out for dinner and all that. I really loved how they kind of just put that piece together and just showcasing Kenny, the football player, but also Kenny, the man. And I think that's also important too for the fans to see that these players are not great. They're not only great on the field, but they're also great off the field, and they have a really high impact. And so I love that piece. There's so many other pieces that I love. Of course, I love the training camp piece. I love the piece that they're showing the week 1 loss and how the team's bouncing back and what that's going to look like in terms of redemption. And then of course now they leave us waiting for more, because what's going to happen in the next episode of Made in the Hammer. So honestly, hats off. I know it's so difficult to do a show like this, but they did such an outstanding job putting it all together. And for me sitting here in this chair, it's easy for me to critique and ask for things that we want to see more. But this is just because we just love what they're doing. We love what you guys are doing behind the scenes, what you do. And so it's like, let's make this the best production ever, right? And so they're already on track with that. And again, we just want to see more. So yeah, I thought it was 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I think
look at Matt Bucknor. But if he was doing it great at a DB, he would have been like, man, he got it. hey, I'm in here because you know me, Rick. Look, we get judged every single week, every single day, every single hour. Everything got to be perfect. If it's not perfect, you go home. You know what I'm saying? So there's always constant room for improvement. And Absolutely. I don't want anybody to ever think that whatever is out is just what is out. You can always get better and always improve. That's why football is so special, because every single week you either get better or you get worse, or there's no staying apart because of people always getting better. You know what I mean? So anytime you get the opportunity to elevate your game, whether that's looking at somebody else's game plan and be like, oh, okay, let me add a little bit of that, or look, you know what I mean? You gotta have enough ego you gotta have enough pride, not enough pride to just drop and leave that alone. Like, you know what? I can learn from this person. Hey, Rick, you got a family, you know what I mean? You got kids, he a little older than me, you know what I'm saying? But, I got to look at Rick every time I'm commentating, like, okay, I can get better from him, and learn how to do this more efficiently and learn some of these names that I might just say in numbers too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you got to self-scout always, always, always. And that's another thing that, we're sure we talk about in football, but like self-scouting is the most important thing in the world. How do you think you're able to stay somewhere for so many years? You got to be the hardest critic on yourself. And the only way you can be as hard is tell people to be brutally honest when they coaching you. You remember we was at that thing where Courtney and McManus were talking, right? And McManus was like, coach me hard. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, I see what kind of player McManus is. Because you don't want somebody feeding you candy and thinking you got the absolute best stuff all the time. And in your little bubble, oh my gosh, that's so bad. And then you got other people looking like, It's okay. It could be, you know what I mean? Because you want to be the biggest, you can only gotta keep getting bigger.
Yeah. And that improvement goes both ways, from broadcaster to football player too, because there's many times where I'm like, oh, I see what you're seeing now. Thanks for explaining it to me that way.
You see what?
Now I see it. One more thing on the Made in the Hammer series, and I think the biggest compliment we can give is we want more. I think that's what we're all saying. We love it so much. Give us a little bit more. Back to the pranks. You know, Stav was talking about some of the pranks at training camp. Did you, in your playing days, witness something? Did you execute an epic prank? Did something just that you saw was funny? We don't have to name names, just, you know, what happened. Can you share anything?
I share my, all right. So, my first year playing football, right? I was a wild boy. I ain't gonna lie. I just turned 23 in Canada, got my own little reality television show in Edmonton. They had my rights after I just got cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I get there. I'm fully turned Simoni Lawrence at this point with all the energy in the world. So I'm just doing everything with ease, talking all this crap, yada, yada. I remember one time we in a preseason game, G-Roy Simon, I say something crazy to him. Oh, I'm already turned up. So then they make us do a talent show. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all want to do, I'm not doing no talent show, you know what I mean? Because I still had that little mental, like, listen, I'm not a rookie. I already played 3 years of professional football. I'm young, but I still played 3 years of pro ball. And they was like, no, you got to do it. I was like, all right, bet. Y'all want me to do it? All right, so I'm going to prank the whole football team. So, you know, this might have been a reason I got traded. So the thing So what I did in Edmonton was I did the top 21 ugliest people on the team, right?
Wow.
So we all in the meeting room, right? And I'm just all the best. And then I put something that looked like the person, and then I put the picture of the person. Bro, so I'm sitting there pranking, everybody laughing and telling it's them on camera, right? Oh man, they got me good the next day though. The Phantom definitely came and visited me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Phantom came and seen me. You know, since they was a good sport about it, I was a good sport about the Phantom. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So it's all in good business.
So can you explain the Phantom? What is that?
Oh, so the rules are you can't talk too much about the Phantom. That's just code of ethics and part of the Phantom, you know what I mean? But the Phantom's somebody that handles internal beef in the locker room. If something's crazy's going on that everybody knows is crazy, you're going to lock in on something and you're going to make sure, like, people know that was crazy and you got to, you know what I mean, pay the piper, you know what I'm saying? Pay the price. Okay. You know what I mean?
Matt, did you witness anything or a level of
man, I've witnessed a lot of things, but I don't have a lot of time for this segment. But
we're not down by time on the podcast here. Let's give the fans what they want.
I will share one. This was actually an epic one. This is probably top 5. So there was I'm not going to say what team because I played on a handful of teams. I'm not going to say which team it was, but there were a group of players that had created Tinder profiles, fake Tinder profiles. And there were some other players that were engaging on these Tinder profiles. And then these Tinder profiles were shared during one of the. And so that was it was a pretty good one. And I would say that was top 5. So you could see some of the conversations and all these things. And that was a really good one. I will not say which team that happened on, but they ended up getting some of those. There was some of the rookies. They ended up getting some of those rookies really good.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. I mean, man, boy, that was like college for us. We used to do that with people on, like, back in the day, Facebook, see who was all the way freaked out.
Right.
Like, oh, y'all
tripping. Yeah, it was
man.
I had no involvement.
Yeah. You
just
never
witness.
know who you're talking to on the internet, bro, so just always remember that. Mm-hmm. The internet, nothing what it look like.
That's free game right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, especially nowadays. All right, let's get to our next topic, and this is all about the bye week. The Ticats had won 2 in a row. They go into the bye week. Sim, what impact does a bye week have on a team like the Ticats that were playing really well going into that bye week?
The impact is they get to get sharper on things that are already sharp. Look, man, we all like getting corrected when life is still going good and everything feeling good. When you 2-1 and you getting corrected on, oh, you should have did this better, you're gonna be like, you know what, coach, I should have, because you're still feeding off of the high of being 2-1. But there's so much room to get better and improve. And you always say, I'd rather make corrections after a what, boys?
Win.
Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the Hamilton Tiger Cats are getting the opportunity to do right now, because there's so much room for them to grow in so many different levels. They're a really good football team. And with this bye week, they get to sharpen their knives. They get to make sure everything, their armor's more protected, make sure their legs get a little more attention, get rubbed on early in the season. And I feel like this bye week is perfect for a team like the Hamilton Tiger Cats with so many knowledgeable football players on the offense. I'm like, oh my gosh, all you got to do for an offense like this is make sure that they're all fresh, because Keandre understands football, Kenny Lawler understands football, Wheatfall understands football, Larry Roundtree understands football. This offensive line has been doing a tremendous job, understands football. Them tight ends understand football. You know, it's all around a team that understands football. When you have a team that you got to teach football stuff to, that's when the bye week's more annoying. Like, oh, what are you doing? You got to do this. But I feel like this team is going to benefit in any kind of bye week situation because it's a team that understands football on the offensive side.
Matt, rest is great, but does it mess with the team's mojo? Or listen, when you're winning, and it's a nice week off, and now they're back, and as Sim says, they're sharpening the knives.
Yeah, Rick, going into a bye week, when you have a win, we've talked about this before, just the energy is better. It's a little less stressful for a lot of the coaches, the players, everybody in the locker room or in the organization or in the building. It's a lot less stressful. But also what it does, it allows players, and this is just touching on what Sin had just mentioned, it just gives guys opportunities to refine and just fine tune some of the just the nuances of the game. So for some of the newer, especially some of the newer DBs, you get the opportunity to kind of just like lock in to the playbook a little bit more. You have a little bit more time to look at the film, and you can. For some of the guys, I was down at the field of some of those days during the bye week. There's guys just going through, and again, they're not doing. When I was there, they weren't doing full on sprints or anything, like, but they're just working certain elements of their technique or their stance, and then you can kind of just like dial in on just these little things that again you're always working on. You're always, as a DB or as a receiver, you're always working on getting in and out of breaks and little things like this. But this is an opportunity to fine tune, and then of course you have that opportunity to rest. But then now you can go as a unit too. You guys all come together, and then now it's okay. We've some of the guys kind of are a little battered, bruised. Now you guys come together as units. Like, listen, we're going to recover, and we're going to have fresh legs going into this next game or this next stretch before our second bye week. So now I think the guys will come together after a win like that, and also knowing that they could be 3-0. They're like, hey, listen, we're not perfect yet, but this is what we're aiming towards. We're aiming towards perfection, and these are some of the things, the little fine details that we need to kind of refine and fine tune. So I think it's a well-timed bye week for these guys, and a great opportunity for them to take care of business as they get into Winnipeg or play against Winnipeg. I'm sorry.
Hey, Rick and Matt. Rick and Matt. So I'm a dive y'all in. So when you're preparing every single week for a game, you got to prepare for your opponent, right? So you normally get that self-scout after the game and you go through that, but then you try to, all right, boom, everything you learn, you bring it to the next week, and then you're preparing for the game. On bye weeks and stuff is the perfect time to self-scout. What I used to do was watch every single football play I ever played, you know what I'm saying, from that point on, and just rewatch every single clip, get a little clip up of every single play. Because when you can see how like people are maneuver or may try to maneuver against you, it gives you a jump on that as well. Be like, oh, I know he was going to do that because I've been shooting or doing this so low, or every time I come off the edge, I do this. So how can I self-scout and give people a different read? Because just like we're scouting a team every week, they're scouting us every week. So the bye week is a perfect time to get a look within yourself and see how you would attack yourself if you were a defense or something. Like, all right, how would I attack Simoni? Oh man, we got to run draws. He played every 2nd and 8. We got to run a draw play because he's already 15 yards back and just diving up and coming. You know what I'm saying? saying? Mm-hmm. So you got to like self-scout yourself during the bye week. I think it's a perfect opportunity when you don't have to scout the other players on the team.
So let me jump on that. How long would that process take for you during that bye week? Is it a one-day thing? Is it a multiple-day thing, like a couple hours a day? And does that just sharpen your tendencies, i.e., when a certain situation is coming, I got to do something a little bit different?
Yeah, you get into a flow state. That's like certain things you do. Like, say I'm coming off the edge. I'll self-scout all the ways I come off the edge and like what the linemen like the tendency to do, whether if they're sliding the protection to me, whether it's run towards me and stuff like that. Like, it helps me understand the flow of the game and how I get attacked. So I know that when I'm getting attacked by their biggest players. So if I'm coming off the edge, they're not going to leave a running back to be like the blocker on me. If it's a run play on a sweep or something, they're going to bring offensive linemen. So I know I got to stay tighter to the edge so I can see it and not get washed out fast enough. So when I'm coming off the edge, I'm always tight if they block down and I'm expecting a guard and I want to play in his park until I can get enough room to get outside of the park. But to your question is, it helps everything. It helps you see everything, some things as much as the defensive line, how they're getting blocked. You get to see everything over and over again. And to answer your question about the process of it, it's over and over again because, like, as much as y'all football players don't think, like, we love watching ourselves. It's so hard to watch other people when you play the same game. We love watching ourselves. So, Rick, it might take the whole bye week for me because I'm going to watch the same thing every single day. I'll watch all those clips every single day on the bye week just because, you love self-scouting yourself because you're doing something that you've been loving since you was 8 years old. So why not just keep doing it over and over and over again? Yeah. So the time that the coach is like, oh, yeah, on this one play you got, I know what play you're talking about, because you want to be on the same telepathy as your the position coach, and they're self-scouting you all the way, so you want to see what they're seeing with critical eyes as well, too, so you guys can have a conversation, and don't gotta be like, all right, come back and let's watch it. You know what I mean? You should be on the same wavelength as your positional coach, minimal for sure.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. That's great insight and behind the scenes stuff that you can watch with the Made in the Hammer docuseries as well. All right, we know that the Tiger Cats are hosting the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's the Made in the Hammer game this Sunday night. Kickoff is at 7. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 6. All the action on the Ticats audio network. Sim, we'll stay with you on this one because the Ticats are preparing to play game number 4 this season. They're 2-1 right now. What trends have you seen emerge from this year's ball club?
The trend, man, protecting the quarterback. Like, I thought that was going to be the hardest thing for us. Is like, hey, got to get new tackles in there. Burrow and Reed are playing tackle now, and they're replacing Jordan Murray and Bucknor in Edmonton. So Burrow and Reed, they were like, all right, make sure they can clamp up. And then, we had to make some changes in the front after that first game. It looks like a whole different ball club. And I think protecting the quarterback is something that we're doing such a great job of. And that's something that needs to continue to trend up because, Bo is the guy, the engine that's getting the ball to everyone and making the offense flow. And the only way you can get Bo off his toes is by hitting him. That's not a guy that needs or wants to take those kinds of hits. And our offensive line is doing such a good job and trending up the right way by protecting Bo Levi.
All right, I love that. Matt, what kind of trends have you noticed from this Ticats team?
Yeah, I've been noticing that one of the trends is fast starts from the offense. Coming out the gate for a lot of their possessions, starting early. The game against they started fairly solid against Montreal, even though they fell short in that fourth quarter or that second half. But fast starts from the offense against Montreal, fast start against Winnipeg. They came out the gate smoking with that run. Was able to put up a ton of points against a respectable Winnipeg unit. And then again, we saw that offense go crazy against that BC unit in their last home game. And so I think that's going to be a trend that's going to continue as well, especially as they're at home. You could just kind of feel that this team they play with a different energy, a different speed. And then of course, any player loves having that crowd behind them. And so that's another trend that I think we're going to continue to see from this Hamilton unit, especially with that pass game, and then complementing the pass with Roundtree in the run.
One of the things that I've noticed is the precision of the offense. They're moving the ball effectively. A lot of the guys are getting involved from the receiver position, especially. The tight ends are playing well. Max Mang, included in his first year in the Canadian Football League, has not necessarily surprised me, but opened my eyes to his ceiling. I thought is now way higher than I originally thought it could potentially be. When there's an incomplete pass, it's almost like, wow, like nobody caught that. Like what happened on that play? It almost seems like they're running a near perfect offense, and the defense making some plays too, creating some turnovers. They're a well-coached team. They've come out of the gate hungry. Again, I know I said it before, they could easily be 3-0. Like, this is legitimately one of the best teams in the Canadian Football League. It puts Saskatchewan up there because they're the defending champs, Edmonton because they're red hot out of the gate, Montreal because they're, the defending East champs, and Hamilton. You got those 4 teams, I think, are wrecking balls. You might make an argument for Toronto, but I'm not going to cheer on the double blue. I think this Ticats team has all the tools necessary for them to be one of the last teams standing. So far, I know it's only 3 games, but so far so good. I've been really impressed with the precision of this team. All right, Sim Spotlights. Simoni Lawrence, each and every week, he's got his eye on a Ticats player or coach. Who are you honed in on this week as the Ticats get set to host the Blue Bombers?
Hey, Kenny Lawler, Wheatfall, Keandre. Oh, that's them calling me right now. I'm on my show right now. Let me clear it right now. So I need them to have the game of their life, because these are the type of games where the opposing team is like, they made an embarrassment out of us. And nothing in football makes me more happier than knowing that you have to stop somebody and you can't stop them. So I want to see these 3 boys. Oh, I forgot. My bad. Somebody called and I almost forgot one of my other boys. Missed the first down every single time. He went 5 for 5 for 50.
Myron Mitchell.
Yeah, Myron Mitchell. I was just making sure you guys were still with me, okay?
I got you.
So I got to put him on the list because what they did to Winnipeg and Winnipeg, I don't want to see nothing different. I don't want Winnipeg to be like, oh, that was luck. Yeah, we were slipping. This was happening. That was happening. Hey, Kenny Lawler, Wheatfall, Keandre, and Mitchell, I just need y'all to do the exact same thing to Winnipeg. Oh, my gosh, my fault. Hey, Larry Roundtree.
I've heard of it. Yep.
We need the same thing from him as well, too. We need to really beat these guys up, to Matt's point. We need to, they can't stop the run. Hey, let's keep that trend in the right way. So my spotlight, I'm just going to go skill positions, baby. I need my wide receivers. I need my running back, quarterback. They all in the spotlight. Because you do it one time, they're going to think it's luck. Then you got to repeat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just excited to see this core group in Kenny Lawler, Wheatfall, Keandre, and then our quarterback, and then Roundtree. I need them to go crazy this week. That's my spotlight.
Gonna be interesting to see. I love that spotlight. Gonna be interesting to see how Winnipeg kind of counters that, knowing what Hamilton did to them, right?
Yeah, and it's on and it's on the center stage. There's nothing better than everything being on the center stage. I used to live for these kind of games because look, everybody know who you got to stop to win the game because you already put it on tape. And you've been talking about it all week. And then if that team come out here and do the same thing they did to you with man, I think that's those are the hardest losses right there. We had all week to prepare for these guys, and we still did to let them do the same thing to us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt Winnipeg for sure. Matt, what do you think of Sim's spotlight this week?
I love the spotlight because I think these are some of the players. Again, you mentioned Keandre. Keandre was a player that he had a great showing in that last game against Winnipeg, and Wheatfall went off against Winnipeg as well. So yeah, it's like, okay, they did it once. Let's see these guys repeat the same type of performance going into this one. So I love the spotlight on the receivers, that receiving core, and then of course they can't get the ball unless the man 1-9 is out there launching it out to them. So yeah, great picks with the receiving core, and then of course you can't forget about Roundtree either because he's going to be getting his touches too.
All right.
Hey, can I just expand for the fans?
Yes.
When I'm doing my spotlight, y'all, I'm just seeing where we should get the most production out of the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to get the most production out of these receivers and running backs because that's how we beat them and jumped on them early. We tired them down with Roundtree, and by the end of the game, we was like playing pitch and catch. And now we were saying that our players were just better than their players. And Winnipeg also knows that. So at that coaching point right there, if you watch those positions are going to have to fight for everything they got because one team's been being coached hard to stop them, and the other guys already know that they're supposed to try to stop them, and they got to beat them.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's what football is all about, right? These
what
epic
I'm saying?
battles. Yeah.
Yes, your battles. That's why you love the game. That's the real reason you love the game. Jumping in the battlefield, coming up with a game plan, and this guy. Everybody know Bo is an accurate quarterback, and he throws touchdowns to these guys. Who gonna stop it?
We'll find out on Sunday night as the Tiger Cats host the Blue Bombers, and that flows in nicely to Buck's big boy battle, where Matt each and every week picks a big matchup in the next game. So we got Ticats Blue Bombers. Who's your big boy battle this week?
My big boy matchup, I'm staying on the offense as well on this one with you guys. I think there's a lot of alignment with us, and I'm going with the offensive line. That last matchup against Winnipeg, the offensive line dominated that D-line. Now, here's the thing with that D-line that Winnipeg has. They're putting a lot of money into the handful of those players over there. Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna. There's some guys that are there that have some high expectations. And so they're coming in this game and say, hey, listen, these guys came up and they dominated us last time, and we need to respond. And so they got to come out with a counterattack or a couple counter punches. And this is going to be an opportunity for Hamilton to really put their foot on the necks of this D-line. Not literally, because those are going to be causing a few penalties, but what they can do is go out there and just play that physical football. Bo Levi has not been touched. He's been untouched in a lot of the games that they've been playing, and that's another trend. We talk about whether some of the trends. Bo has been untouched, and let's see if they can continue that trend. And so I'm putting the spotlight on this offensive line. I think they've been doing an outstanding job in the handful of games that they've started off this season, and I just want to continue to see that trajectory from them. And then, of course, establishing that run game with Roundtree and seeing what they can do. Of course, keeping Bo protected on those opportunities. If they do need to go second and long, or they want to go with a little bit of play action, or they want to end up going in and just going drop back pass and stretching the field, let's see them continue that great production, as Sim was talking about, that production from the entire offense. So I think it's going to start with that offensive line.
I really like how you both picked a unit that dominated Winnipeg a couple of weeks ago and are saying they got to do it again for this team to be successful. And at the end of the day, if that happens, these two units are going to be ultra effective. Sim, what do you think of Buck's big boy battle? The offensive line needs to get the job done against the Bombers.
Hey, Matt, I love it. But in my brain, the offensive line, I ain't had no worry about it. I was like, man, the combination that I seen our boys and how they played and dropped it, they're so comfortable leaning on these guys. When I say they're comfortable leaning on these guys, like they were getting up to their double team so effortlessly, you know what I'm saying? So like it wasn't something that even looked like a challenge to me. So I was like, all right, our offensive line, they're locked in, they can handle that. What I would have gave the big boys is our front seven on defense. They got to prove it again. Not only are they going to have to prove it, they're going to have to prove it with Oliveira getting more than 8 carries, because if I seen anything last game, they were listening to me and they was like, all right, we're going to give Oliveira a minimum of 18 carries no matter what's going on in the game. 8 carries will not happen again. So we need our front seven to be more consistent, because 8 times, that's not a lot of time stopping the run. That's keeping the run in check, but you're not really getting a good dose of run and pass. You were playing one-dimensional style of football, and playing defense against one-dimensional professional football against one-dimensional style of offense is the easiest football in the world. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to make sure they have the front seven's going to have to make sure that they get this run in check and continue to get this run in check, because they're not going to abandon the run against us. They know they cannot win abandoning the run against us. So we're going to have to get the big boys in the front seven and make sure we stop this run.
I think one of the keys, too, would be Ryan Baker, who just signed a new contract. You know, Whit McMahon is still injured. Baker's the guy in the middle. Can he get the job done amongst that, front seven to rein in, Brady Oliveira, who's ultra-talented, and it just seems to be a matter of time before he's going to break one. Hopefully it's not Sunday. That's right. Yes, hey, Winnipeg should open a bakery. They got so many turnovers.
Yo, what's going on with 20 on holding the football? All last season at the end of the game, big cough ups too. You never talk about it. I'm listening to TSN and I'm like, this has been trending this way for the past I don't know how long. What's going on? Y'all, and they need to do a sit-down interview with him about it. Like,
all security.
Save it for next week when he fumbles a few more times, hopefully on Sunday.
Yeah, yo, like imagine, man, come on. What's the most important job on offense, Butler?
Man, the ball is the most important. You got to protect that ball.
That's right.
I was just making sure, because sometimes I'm listening to things, I'm like, oh no, that doesn't even matter anymore.
It's the Ticats and the Blue Bombers. Tiger Cats pregame on Sunday begins at 6. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. That's another edition of Ticats This Week. Like, subscribe, comment. We're back next week, Oskee Week.
This has been the Ticats This Week on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, follow, and get a deeper understanding of your Hamilton Tiger Cats.